Purdue's new head coach, Barry Odom, is making his way from UNLV to Purdue for the upcoming 2025 season. In the past, we've seen a lot of schools, when they get these new head coaches in the transfer portal era, bring a lot of new players in to start off their roster and to start that new era. Today, we're going to take a look at what players Barry Odom brought with him from UNLV to Purdue and why that is such a big deal. In this day and age with the transfer portal, transfers are a huge part of any team. But when you have a new head coach going to a new job, the transfers from their previous school and team are some of the biggest ones you can get. They help set the foundation for that program. They bring with them their winning mindset. They understand the culture. They understand the standards. They understand even just the systems that the coaches use to help them succeed. So they are a huge part of bringing that success, especially in year one. And so we look at the stuff that Barry Odom is bringing with him and the accomplishments he had at UNLV that these players are a part of. There's a lot to look forward to. Barry Odom was the 2023 Mountain West Coach of the Year his first year. He took UNLV to back-to-back conference championship games in the Mountain West. He went 28 overall, which doesn't sound all that impressive when you think about before Barry Odom got there, they were last in the Mountain West. His first year there, they were picked last in the Mountain West, ended up making it all the way to the championship game. UNLV hadn't been to a bowl game in 10 years before he got there. They hadn't won one in 24 years before he got there. They'd never finished season ranked. And all of those things were accomplished while Barry Odom was there. And it wasn't just like they had easy schedules and they were, getting away with whatever they wanted. They beat Vanderbilt. They beat Houston. They beat Kansas. They beat Oregon State, all on the road. So they really went uphill, went on the road, and came out victorious several times to get them ahead of expectations. And that is the kind of thing that Barry Odom is hoping to bring with him to West Lafayette in year one. The first player on this list has been with Coach Odom his entire playing career. Jaylen St John went to Arkansas when Coach Odom was the defensive coordinator there, has followed him to UNLV, and has now followed him all the way to Purdue. Jaylen St John is a redshirt senior. He is an offensive guard at Purdue. He's 6'5", 330. However, in his previous spot at UNLV, he was their starting left tackle for 2 consecutive years. He was second team All-Mountain West last year. And so he has a lot of experience. He played a little bit of Arkansas, and then he played full-time left tackle at UNLV. Now switching into the Big Ten, where he's going to be at a bigger conference with bigger O-lines, he is going to shift to the inside of that line. He projects to be our starting left guard, has stayed there since he has got there in all of spring and fall camp, and he is going to be a leader. He's a guy who's been around several different schools, but he has won a lot the last 2 years and is going to kind of bring a leadership, a set of expectations, and a skill set that will be really valuable to the O-line in Barry Odom's first season. Next up, we have another offensive lineman who's made his way from Las Vegas to West Lafayette, and that is Hank Pervvis, who is unrelated to Dwayne Pervvis, who has his burger at XXX if you've been there. Pervvis is a sophomore offensive guard. He's 6'5", 360. He's a huge human being. Last year, as a true freshman, he came in out of high school and played in every game at UNLV last year. Now, he didn't start those games. He was kind of a rotational offensive lineman and also played special teams. But regardless of that, being a true freshman and playing D1 football as an offensive lineman is really impressive no matter where you are. And so this year, it seemed like most of the time in the projections, he is either second or third string at an offensive guard spot. We'll kind of see how those shape out, but he is more of a developmental piece or reserve at offensive guard this season. The last offensive lineman from UNLV coming to Purdue is Mason Vicari. Mason Vicari is kind of in the same boat as Pervvis, where he is a true sophomore. Last year, he played in 9 games as a true freshman. Once again, rotational offensive line, special teams, things like that. He's 6'4", 305. And once again, he's going to project as a reserve at an inside offensive line spot, so like offensive guard, something like that. He's a guy who, once again, if you walk into a program as a true freshman and contribute as an offensive lineman, that has a lot to say about you. And the fact that Coach Odom wanted to bring him from Las Vegas to West Lafayette also says a lot about his skill set, his talent, but also his work ethic and the kind of standard he wants to set as he brings players from his old place right into West Lafayette to sort of start building that culture. And Vicari is one of those guys. Tony Grimes is another really experienced contributor that is coming to West Lafayette with Coach Odom. He is a 6-year senior. He is 6'2", 195 with 41 career starts at cornerback, 117 tackles, 25 pass breakups, 1 interception to his name. So he has played a ton of football. And his story is pretty interesting. He started out as a 5-star blue chip recruit who was between like Texas A&M, Georgia, Ohio State, and UNC. And going to North Carolina for his first year, was an honorable mention All-ACC player there, went to Texas A&M where things didn't go as well before matriculating to UNLV the last 2 years with Coach Odom. And there he did pretty well as a major contributor at cornerback and was really solid for them. Coming into 2025, he is expected to be one of the starting quarterbacks for this Purdue defense. And he's a guy that has been a mentioned senior leader. He's very vocal. He is setting the standard in the way he practices and the way he communicates with guys and all the things you see on the field. He's been really helpful in kind of setting the tone and bringing that winning standard with him. It'll be interesting to see how well he does. He has a lot of potential. He has awesome size at the cornerback. He has great traits. He has decent production over his career. It'll be interesting to see kind of if he can reach his ceiling here in 2025. Continuing on, we have another senior leader on the defense side of the ball in Manny Pal. Manny Pal is a senior linebacker, 6'2", 230, who has followed Coach Odom once again throughout his entire playing career. He started out at Arkansas. He was there for 2 years before transferring last year for his junior year to UNLV to follow Coach Odom, where he was a major contributor. He's played throughout his entire career, played a lot of special teams, and also subbed in at linebacker. But last year was his first year he really contributed a ton. Over the course of his career, he has 64 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks. He was used all over the board as a blitzer, in coverage, good against the run. He's done a lot of different things. And as a senior, he is poised to step into a true starting role. UNLV had linebacker Jackson Woodard last year, who was a stud and was one of the best linebackers in the entire nation that he was kind of sitting behind. And this is his chance to go forward and grab his own role and carve out kind of his own spot as a linebacker. It'll be really interesting to see what he can do here in 2025. Linebacker was a huge spot of need for Purdue football in 2025, and so you saw Coach Odom bring a couple guys from UNLV here. Charles Koreah is another linebacker who has made his way to West Lafayette. However, he made it during the second transfer portal window in the spring. Before that, through spring practice, he was poised to start at UNLV as a linebacker, but now he's going to start here at Purdue most likely. He is a true sophomore, 6'3", 230, so really great size. He is from Hawaii. Then he went to Las Vegas where he played at Bishop Gorman, which is one of the best high school programs in all of America. And he played a lot last year as a true freshman, both special teams and in-game. He started 2 games, played in all of them, had 16 tackles and a tackle for loss, and they also passed deflection or 2. He's a guy who has a lot of potential, really good size. Has played with Powell before, so there's a little bit of chemistry already there as well. He's a guy that, is not just building for now, but he also can be a sort of center point moving forward as Purdue football develops. The final senior that Barry Odom is bringing with him from UNLV is Christian Moore. Christian Moore is a senior tight end fullback. He's 6'3", 250. He plays that kind of H-back role where you move him all over the field. He can catch the ball. He can block really well. He can do a lot of different things. He last year was a fullback of the year nominee finalist. So he was one of the best run blockers at tight end and fullback in the entire nation. He started 11 games at tight end for them last year. He had, I think, the 3rd highest PFF run blocking grade for any tight end or fullback in the country. And he's going to continue to do that here in West Lafayette. He's not going to start. George Burhan will probably start at tight end. However, you're going to see him a lot in lots of different packages. He'll line up at tight end. He'll line up in the backfield. You'll see him all over. He is a tough, gritty player who sets the tone on offense. We have saved the tallest player for last year with tight end Christian Earles. Earles is a senior as well, 6'8", 280 at the tight end spot. Now, most people, when they hear that, they immediately think that sounds more like an offensive lineman or an offensive tackle, and he's put on 20 pounds on a tight end. But Earles is adamant that he wants to play tight end, and this staff believes in him in that way. He has played 21 career games at tight end. He has a handful of catches, not a ton. He's used as a blocker a lot, but he is adamant, if you listen to him in his interviews, that he is not only a blocking tight end, but also a well-rounded pass catcher. And in the couple practices I've been to, he catches the ball pretty well and actually moves surprisingly well for being 6'8", 280. So he's a guy to keep your eye on. Once again, not going to start. He's going to be behind George Burhan for sure. Christian Moore is also probably ahead of him at this point, but he's a guy that drips potential. And even though he is technically a senior, this is his 4th year of college ball, he played JUCO before going to UNLV. So potentially has more eligibility left depending on how the NCAA ruling ends up. So in the end, these are the 8 players that Coach Odom has brought with him to uphold that standard and bring that winning culture to West Lafayette. I hope it goes great this season. Let me know who you think will have the biggest impact out of these 8 in 2025. Boiler up.